I'm eating purple. I'm eating purple. I'm eating purple. Never been a wildcat. I'm eating purple. Never been a wildcat.
Welcome back to the Purple Pod, the best kstate podcast out there. I'm Steve,
And I am Ken.
and in today's episode, we're going to be talking about a Big 12 championship rematch between
boy.
K-State and TCU. Kenny, how are you doing today, man?
Well, Steve, I'm glad you asked because I got something that's on my chest. I need to get off my chest, Steve.
We're just starting right away.
We're starting right away, man, because you know
we-
it's something that's been bothering me. Okay,
What's been bothering you, Kenny?
it's been the K-State fans. They've been bothering me because I mean, when you asked me this question last episode, it was the day after the game, and I really didn't there wasn't a lot of content out there. There wasn't a lot of fans speaking their voices about the whole Avery thing. They were just really pumped about the Avery thing. And then I just started seeing a whole bunch of nonsense saying like calling for Will Howard's head. I'm like, you guys have got to be insane. You guys are pissing me off. K-State fans, what is wrong with you? Will Howard is a senior. He led you to a Big 12 championship. He's a human being. He's a great human being. Listen to all his teammates talk about him. And I know you're going to say this. You're going to be like, well, being a great person doesn't win games. And that's not, whatever. That's not going to help you win football games. That's fine. I'm not saying that it is going to win you football games. But I'm saying when you got a team that is talking really, really highly of a player, why are you calling for this guy's heads? Why are you trying to take him off the field? This guy has earned his spot. He's earned it. And you guys are like so quick to just because one player got a really, really great game in. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that it was a fluke. I think Avery's the real deal. But Avery's got to prove that he can continue. He can be consistent in this. It's like you guys make me sick, man. Like you guys got to really think about what you're saying here. Will Howard was being mentored by two other quarterbacks before he became the starter. Last year, Adrian was mentoring Will when Adrian got injured, and Will was the guy to step up. And Adrian was that guy to go, hey, this is what, he was helping him out, like getting the offense figured out. And Will is sort of doing the same thing for Avery because he sees the same thing that was given to him. So it's just like passing the buck thing. You don't just throw away Will Howard. He's got a lot of skill. I mean, again, Coach Kleiman in his press conference today, he said, we've got two quarterbacks that can win the game. That's amazing. We have a luxury that no other team really has. I really just believe that Will Howard had a bad OSU game. It was coming off of a bye week. And honestly, looking at the trend of the Big 12, every team that's come off of a bye week has lost. It seems like it. I mean, I don't know if that's 100% true, but it just seems like all the teams that are coming off a bye week,
Oklahoma State won.
Yeah, they did win, but I'm just saying it's just one of those things where it's like we were in their house. They seemed to figure out something. We weren't playing our best. We didn't have Jacob Parrish. There's a lot of things. There was a lot of things about the OSU game I don't want to get into. But another thing that kind of struck me was that Coach Kleiman, which, by the way, Steve, you've been the one that has been saying this, kind of like tossing it around under the radar. Coach Kleiman actually hinted at the fact that Will Howard is still not 100%. He said that when Will Howard is at 100%, he can run the ball just as well as
I
Avery.
noticed that he let that slip out today.
He let that slip.
It just went kind of under the radar, but we've been saying it for weeks, man. He is not 100%.
Yeah, and it showed because his run has not been like it was the first two games. We gave Will Howard player of the game for the first two games in case people didn't remember. He played out of his mind. He was catching the ball, he's throwing the ball, he's running with the ball. And, come the Missouri game, he got hurt. He came back UCF. He was playing through the pain. It seems like that pain was still carrying over. Also, let's not forget this. Avery Johnson is coming in with like zero pressure. Zero. He's an 18-year-old true freshman. He has no expectations. If he would have went out and laid an egg, everybody would have been like, well, hey, that's okay. That's okay, Avery. You just got to get some more reps in. We believe in you. Nobody would be calling for Avery's head. No one would be like, oh, this kid's a joke. Get him out of here. The thing is that Will won a Big 12 title. So he's got all the pressure in the world to go in and be outstanding. Now, that is, the performance that he put on last year is the expectation that we have this year. So there is that. But we also forgot that Will only played like half a season, as a starting quarterback. So, you say what you want about all that. But again, I believe that Will Howard was going in with no pressure. Hey, I'm the backup. If I just make some good plays, who knows? Maybe it might go my way. It was kind of sort of this underdog mentality. I've got nothing to lose. I've got nothing to lose here. And I think that's the same kind of, concept that Avery's probably coming in with is like, I've got nothing to lose. I'm just going to go in, play hard, do what I'm supposed to do on this football team and take care of business. And look, it turned out amazing. And I don't believe that Avery's talent is a fluke. I think it's the real deal. But I still think you got to work in Avery, and these fans got to chill out, man. Stop saying, well, Avery's got the job. Avery's just got the job now. It's like, no, he doesn't. He doesn't know the whole offensive playbook yet. There's no way. He's going to have to learn over time. And I think by giving him some reps, giving him a couple series, I think that's going to be great for him. And it's also going to be good for Will as well, because if Will's having a rough patch, it seems like that he's got some healing that he needs to get done. It's good to know that you got a guy that can back you up and help you out. And so I think I've said all I needed to say. I think we can move on from this, but it's just like the fans, they're driving me crazy, man. They're like acting like that dang meme, where the guy is like holding this girl's hand. He's looking back at the other girl. He's like, oh, look at Avery over here. It's like, yo, bro, this is Big 12 champion Will Howard. Calm down, bro. Calm down. Like the coach, look, as fans, I was on a K-State Facebook page, and one of the comments I saw was like we did about this whole Will and Avery thing is that the coaches, they're going to know who to put in. The players, they're going to play their hearts out. And the fans, we just need to do our job, and that is to cheer for our team. That's it. That's the end of the day. That's at the end of the day. That's it. That's all we need to worry about is just cheering for our home team, cheering for the K-State Wildcats. Whether they win or lose, just be supportive, man. They're our home team. So that's all I got to say. Now we can move on. Now we can move on.
You know what? So we're actually going to get into our initial thoughts here in a minute. I'm going to skip forward in the outline here. Since you were talking about K-State fans, I want to talk about TCU fans. So last year, K-State dealt with some pretty ridiculous TCU fans in both of the games that K-State played in against them. So K-State went down to Fort Worth last year in a pretty big ball game that saw both Will Howard and Adrian Martinez get hurt. Jake Rubley had to come in. A bunch of defenders went out with injuries, linebackers, corners, a bunch of players. Like hardly anyone was able to finish that game. And I'm not making excuses for why K-State lost that game, but it definitely felt like that was part of it. Now, while K-State was there, I know there was a lot of K-State fans that saw this, a lot of K-State players that talked about this during the game. Now, this is TCU. This is Texas Christian University. Now, they serve alcohol at their games. They serve alcohol. And TCU fans, they like to consume it. And not only do they like to consume it, they like to throw it. They were throwing beer cans, all sorts of alcohol at all the K-State players on the bench.
What a waste.
What a waste. Yeah, and a bunch of K-State players were complaining about it. I know that K-State made like an official complaint to the Big 12. Absolutely ridiculous that TCU fans were doing that. And I went to the Big 12 championship in Arlington. And I'll tell you what, going down there and seeing all the K-State fans at every single gas station, every single food place we stopped at was awesome. Having K-State win was amazing. Getting to witness that in person was amazing. But we were sitting in a section of basically all K-State fans, right? There was a group of TCU fans right next to us, and they were the rudest fans I had ever encountered outside of Nebraska fans, which Nebraska fans have a pretty bad rap. Like I remember getting heckled by them in our own parking lots and in our own stadium when K-State played them back in 2010. TCU fans were just as bad as them. They were talking all sorts of smack. I'm sure they were drunk and all of that. But the look on their faces when K-State made that game-winning field goal, and they're all just standing there pissed off, and I'm just over there waving goodbye, was amazing. And like I said, their fans were terrible the whole game. They were talking all sorts of smack. They were like pointing at us and screaming and cursing at us. Like, I was like, these are TCU fans? These are supposed to be Texas Christian University fans? What is going on? And then I remembered they were throwing all sorts of alcohol at the players earlier in the season. TCU fans are some of the worst I've ever encountered. And I've been going to games since the 90s. TCU fans are terrible. So, shout out to them and kudos to them for getting to the national championship. But, part of me is kind of like, kind of happy they got their butts kicked 65-7. Imagine spending all that money to go to the national championship to watch your team get beat 65-7. So I just got to imagine that group of fans that were there, that were heckling us the whole time. Imagine the look on their faces after getting beat down 65-7. Like I said, their fans are some of the worst I'd ever encountered. Even my wife was talking about how bad they were. It was terrible. Now, on the flip side of that, there were 69,000 fans there. I definitely say they probably had 40,000. We had 30,000. They definitely had more than us, but K-State Nation was there in full force on a week's notice, driving 8 hours south. Well, TCU only had to drive 20, 30 minutes. K-State fans showed out, no doubt about it. And I definitely wanted to talk about that because after you talked about the K-State fans, I want to talk about how terrible the TCU fans were that I encountered last year. Let's get into this game here. Kenny, I want to get your initial thoughts on K-State versus TCU this weekend at Bill Snyder Family Stadium at 6 p.m. I don't know what station it's on, but K-State is a 6.5-point favorite. Kenny, what's your overall initial thoughts on this game coming up this weekend?
Well, I mean, before the season started, I was like, this is going to be a banger. I mean, this is, Big 12 rematch. I mean, this is legit. And this time it's going to be in our house. So I thought this is going to be a banger. And then watching the season progress and seeing and witnessing what TCU was really all about this year, I kind of was like, oh, this isn't going to be as hype as I thought it was going to be. I was like, wait a second. Hold on a second. Wait. This is the defending. Oh, this is a national championship appearance team the year before, and they're losing games to West Virginia, Iowa State, like
Colorado.
I was like, wait a second, hold on.
At home to Colorado too, by the way.
I'm like, wait.
Virginia at home, by the way.
This is not what I was expecting. As the season was going. Now, K-State, they lost a couple games, but looking like they lost to OSU, which they're finding their footing. Missouri State is looking like they're a legit team now. It seems crazy to me. It seems crazy, but they're actually looking good. What are they, 6-1 now? That's crazy. But I still think this is going to be a good game because of all the hype of the game of last week's game. That last week's game has sparked a whole new sort of life into this K-State fandom. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, this is all anybody wants to talk about is this quarterback situation. And I just love how we have two amazing guys with like amazing talents on our team, one with experience, one with, more talent, but less experience, raw talent, I should say. And it's just like, it's so awesome to witness. We got it's really exciting. It's electric. The fans are ready. After having 2 away games, we're ready for them to come back home. We're undefeated at home, so it makes it even more sweet that we might even get a chance to beat them again, even though like with the advantage on our side. And I just think initial thoughts, man, we better get this victory. I mean, this should be, out of all the games, this one and next week are supposed to be the handouts. They should be the home game handouts. And I'm pretty sure, is it this game that's homecoming or is it next week?
That I am not sure. I know one of them is Fort Riley Day. I think that's next week.
Fort Riley Day is November 11th.
Oh, the Baylor game. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
I think
I would imagine this. I'd imagine it's homecoming this week.
It has to be. This is a huge. Well, on the schedule, it was supposed to be a huge game. Not so much with the way that TCU has been performing.
I don't know. This is according to a lot of people, the second toughest game remaining on the schedule. Now we'll see about that. KU's looked up and down at times, and so we'll see.
I can see why people say that. I think they're getting caught up in the nostalgia of the name TCU and like what they were last year, because I mean, Coach Kleiman had already said they lost a huge senior class. Yep. We lost some people to the NFL as well, so we're both kind of feeling the hurt there. But I think TCU loss was much more significant than ours. They've got a pretty good senior line. We've got a really good senior line. So that in that aspect, that's gonna be legit. That's gonna be tough. So, but I know that our D line are still legit. They them boys still. So they're gonna be taking it to them, man. And this is gonna be a fun game to watch. I think it's gonna be exciting to see for sure.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with what you said earlier, that like this win last weekend gave K-State new life. It kind of felt like the OU win last year, where it's like, okay, the week before you could not have played worse. Last year they could not have played worse against Tulane. Next week they come back and win at OU. This year they could not have played worse at Oklahoma State. Come back and win by 3 scores at Texas Tech.
Avery could have made that touchdown, dude. That first down and get down, like that was the call. Get first down, then go down.
First down, go down. Yep.
But he could have went the whole way, dude. He had nothing but daylight.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So like I said, it felt like you said, that win gave K-State new life. Now, will K-State parlay that into more success? I heard players talking after the game about, keep playing like your backs are against the wall. Keep playing with that chip on your shoulder. Not a single AP voter had K-State in their top 25 this past week. Now, I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but obviously the chip needs to stay on that shoulder. Last week was the first time all season K-State was not favored to win. K-State played like it. K-State played like they had something to prove. And, they played phenomenal. And I'm hoping to see K-State repeat that. You talked about the offensive line. The K-State offensive line has played phenomenal since Big 12 play started. They got back Christian Duffy, and they have not looked back since. Over 200 rushing yards, all 3 Big 12 games so far. They've looked phenomenal, honestly. They really have. They may have only given up 1 sack this past week, if not 0. Like, the K-State O-line has been phenomenal. They've been everything we've wanted. It took them a little bit to get going. I feel like Carver Willis has been playing better and better. He's getting more experience. The O-line in general looked phenomenal last week. They've looked phenomenal all 3 weeks, like I talked about.
Dude, Cooper Beebe's gonna, or that's
yes, Cooper Beebe. Right? Yep.
Cooper Beebe's gonna be a guy playing Sundays.
He'll be a first or second round pick, no doubt about it.
No doubt. He's unreal.
I would say my initial thoughts are I'm really excited about this game. Specifically after last year, a couple really close games. Big 12 championship rematch. It's sold out. It's on Saturday night, prime time. K-State's got their swagger back. This is going to be a really fun time. Let's get into the K-State offense versus the TCU defense. I'm going to pull up some stats here. We know that this is going to be kind of a battle of a couple possible freshman quarterbacks playing. TCU's got a quarterback that threw for 400 yards last week and 4 touchdowns, but K-State's got a pretty good quarterback as well. Will Howard, and then obviously the freshman Avery Johnson, who I was really talking about there. He had 5 touchdowns last week, and I went back and looked because I talked about it on the last pod. Josh Freeman had 0 games as a freshman where he scored 5 touchdowns. In fact, he only had 8 touchdowns in the entire season over 11 games. So for Avery Johnson to have 5 in one game, 6 so far this year, and 3 appearances is pretty darn impressive. And I wanted to ask you, I asked you in the last episode, I wanted to ask you again, because looking at the stats here, K-State has the advantage, scoring offense, total offense, passing offense, but really the rushing offense, it feels like is the big difference here between K-State's offense and TCU's defense. Do you feel like, now you said you would start Will Howard, but when looking at the stats here and looking at how good K-State offensive line has played, do you feel like K-State needs to lean on the running game more and possibly use Avery Johnson more this weekend?
That's a really good question, man, because I feel like these teams it's going to be the battle of like the run game for K-State and the pass game for TCU, you know, like that's the strengths is like the run versus the pass, you know? And honestly, I think K-State again, like I haven't really backed off of this, like this view all year so far is that K-State's brand of offense is always going to be running. It's going to be rushing offense. We've got way too many weapons to not utilize. I mean, Trayshawn Ward, absolute animal. And it seems like they've been able to unlock him in a way when Avery's on the field, because when Avery's on the field, the defense has to adjust to be able to compensate for Avery. And then that allows Trayshawn Ward to be able to get in there and make, because all eyes are on number 5. And when all eyes are on number 5, then you got number 9, right? He's number 9. Trayshawn's number 9. Number 9 will just kind of sleep, like very quickly, just get right in there and get a solid like 12, 15 yards. Yeah, we are a solid running team. I don't think that's ever going to change. We do have some issues with our pass game. We have yet to see somebody really step up there other than Ben Sennett. And you know, he's not catching long balls. He's just doing the quick routes, you know, out to the sideline, right in the middle, you know, just quick down and outs. You know, he's not trying to get some big plays, but on that big play, like in that area, we don't have anybody. There's nobody there. I mean, Phillip Brooks, you could maybe say, but he hasn't been reliable in that sense. He hasn't been able to he hasn't been thrown at that often. So I think you want to run. To answer your question, you want to run. I think that's just our strength. It just is. And I think going forward, you know, a lot of defenses are going to realize that pretty quickly. But I mean, when you adjust for that, it allows other things to open up. And I think like kind of what Coach Kleinman said was we have 2 really solid quarterbacks that will both be able to win in their own way. So when defenses have to sort of create, you know, new ways of defending the run, that allows for some passing to be opened up in some areas. So I like what we're doing here, man. I like, we have to at least have an identity, and it seems like we do. We have an identity, and we're gonna go with this identity of running, force teams to try to adjust to that, and then be able to surprise them with some screens and some pass plays.
You know, I would agree with that. And, you know, when I was looking at last year and thinking about this week about who I think should be playing quarterback, I do agree Will Howard should start. He's got experience against TCU a couple years in a row now. He beat him in the Big 12 championship game. How do you not start him? And, you know, but a lot of K-State's passing plays last year, TCU defenders were all over him. I mean, I'm thinking about the deep ball to Knowles. The defender was all over him. I'm thinking about the touchdown to R.J. Garcia, the deep pass to Deuce Vaughn. The defenders are all over him. Like even last year, a lot of K-State receivers had a tough time getting open. That's why it mattered so much that Will Howard was so accurate. Unfortunately, K-State and Will Howard has not been as accurate this year. And I look back at, you know, who was the MVP of that game? It was not Will Howard. Who was it? It was Deuce Vaughn. Yeah. K-State was able to run the ball. Will Howard had a nice touchdown run of a couple yards. Deuce Vaughn had a beautiful run where he just made that safety just put him on ice skates. Me and my friend were sitting next to each other. We looked at each other right after, like that safety had no chance. No chance. I do agree. K-State's identity is to run the ball. I expect Avery Johnson to play a healthy amount this week. I do think Will Howard will start with the experience. And, we can't forget 4 times this year, the first 4 games this year, Will Howard has brought K-State down and scored a touchdown to start the game. And if you look at Texas Tech as well, K-State still came down and kicked a field goal. So that means in 5 of the 6 games, K-State has scored on the opening possession with Will Howard starting the game. I expect him to start. I expect him to play well. His back is against the wall. You got that or at the starting quarterback because this is the first time all season it says or between Will Howard and Avery Johnson on who's going to start. K-State's going to play in both. I think Will Howard is going to be the starter. I expect him to play well, but I do think Avery Johnson is going to play a lot this week. You just can't keep an athlete like that off the field, and it feels like it opens up more things with the running backs, with Ben Sinnott, who's arguably our best offensive player right now outside of, Cooper Beebe, the offensive lineman. But I expect K-State to run the ball a lot. What does K-State need to do better? It feels like they need to just get the receivers open more, rotate the backs, keep them fresh. I don't know. Do you agree with that? Do you feel like they just need to stick with one quarterback, playing both? I know you talked about it before. What do they need to do better? Do they need to get the receivers open more and play one QB, or just let it ride and see how it happens?
I think some of that has to do with, just the play calling itself. I think Colin Klein has been pretty conservative in a lot of his play calls.
I agree.
And I don't really blame him for that because we have thrown a lot of interceptions this year, and so you don't want to have to do that to your quarterback. You don't want to have to keep putting that in his head. And you want to give him stuff that'll give him confidence, and so I think a lot of that has to do with why we haven't been looking the greatest on this past game. But I don't know when in terms of like who you keep in and who you don't. That's going to be completely up to the coaches, man, because whatever they see this week, that's going to give them the information. If I was coach, which I'm not, but if I was coach, I would still start Will. It just makes sense to me. He is a selfless player. He works really hard. There's no doubt in my mind. I'm sure he's he probably feels like a little hurt that he didn't get to play that much. And, in the back of his mind, he's like, man, this kid came in and he's like taking all the glory. But I know that there's another side of him that's like, all right, he did really well. I'm happy for him. I'm proud of him. Like, I want to do everything I can to help him because he's obviously going to help us win football games. But there's that small part of him that's like, God, I got to get in there and work hard now. Otherwise, he's just going to take over the season. So I definitely believe that Will Howard's putting in double time this week, for sure. And I think we're just going to come out slapping some faces around. I really, really think that's going to be the case.
Both teams want to win this game so badly.
Oh, I'm sure.
It feels like another elimination Big 12 title game, game this weekend. Like whoever loses this is kind of on the outside looking in at going to the Big 12 championship in Arlington. And neither team wants to do that. TCU wants revenge for last year. K-State wants to keep this thing going. This is a huge game, dude. Huge game.
I'm sure TCU would love to beat us, but it's not in the script. Okay.
It's not going to happen. It's just not.
TCU fans, I'm sorry. It's just not in the script. Okay. They gave me and Steve the NCAA script for the Big 12, and it just shows us beating you. That's all. I mean, it just says it right there in the script. So I'm sorry to break it down for you like that. I'm sorry to break your hearts. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
It's not our fault.
It's not our fault. It's just the guys that scripted it. Just blame them.
The official.
Don't shoot the messenger. All right.
You got anything else on the K-State offense? I'm really excited to see what they do this weekend. I'm excited to see who plays the quarterback, and I'm excited to see what they do running the ball or passing the ball.
Well, I think we know who's going to be quarterback, but I think it'd be really cool. I had actually saw this like I went down the rabbit hole of all these Facebook posts of K-State and stuff. And I did see something that was kind of cool in my mind. And it was Avery Johnson throwing it to Will Howard, having Will Howard be a receiver.
Dude, he could play tight end, man. He's huge.
Be like a little like
240.
Like that's like literally like that's like Optimus Klein.
Yep.
Freaking 2.0, right? Like throwing him on a receiver, dude.
When you think about it, K-State's had some really, really nice QBs over the last 25 years. I mean, you think back to, you had Michael Bishop, and you had Jonathan Beasley, who rushed for 5 touchdowns in a game. L. Roberson wins a Big 12 championship. Josh Freeman is their first-round draft pick. Optimus Klein is a Heisman finalist, Big 12 champion. We get the number 1 JUCO quarterback in the country, and Jake Waters coming in.
Skylar Thompson.
Skylar Thompson coming. He's in the NFL now. We have Will Howard, who's won a Big 12 championship. And now we got the best freshman quarterback we've seen probably ever, but he's right up there with Josh Freeman, who scored 5 touchdowns last week. K-State's quarterbacks over the years, for the most part, outside of just a couple years here and there, K-State's quarterbacks have been very, very, very good.
Yeah,
in the last 25 years.
Yeah, and more on that really interesting take. Will Howard being a receiver, I think that would be it would suit him well. He's like a massive dude. Yep. He's 6'5". He's like 240 pounds. Like the guy is a beast. He's a freaking beast. Like Absolutely. He is built to be able to catch.
Absolutely.
So I mean, who knows? I mean, that might be something. Who knows? They might work on something like to mix it up a little bit. I think that'd be kind of cool.
Let's turn our attention to the K-State defense that it feels like for the most part this year has struggled immensely, except for against the run. K-State's been pretty darn good against the run. But it feels like the big difference here in this game that might be in favor, it's definitely in favor of TCU, is how much they like to throw the ball. When looking at stats last week, their new freshman quarterback, Josh Hoover, was 37 for 58 for 439 yards and 4 touchdowns. He did have 2 interceptions in that game. They're currently 19th in the country in pass offense. K-State's defense is not very good, 112th in the country. But last week they got 3 interceptions. I thought, what's that? 4. K-State.
I won't let it go. I will not let it go. I will not let this stand. I will not let this stand. It was 4.
K-State should have 5, honestly, if Marcus Siegel could catch a ball.
Oh yeah, 4 and a pick 6. That should have been
basically. But they also have a running back, Imani Bailey, 751 yards this year, 4 100-plus yard games. With the receivers, they do like to spread it around, but their tight end, Jared Wiley, has 4 touchdowns this year. If you compare that to Ben Sinnott only has 3. So it definitely looks like they like to use their tight end a lot, spread it around. Are you scared of this TCU offense with the way they pass the ball? And it almost feels like, again, another one of these teams that might try a couple different trick plays, a bunch of deep balls. Are you scared of the TCU offense and how much they're going to be passing the ball this week against K-State's weakness, pass defense?
This is the only point of the game where I feel like TCU has the edge. And it makes me cautious, just on the fact that this is our weak point, and this is what they like to do, as it appears on a lot of the stat sheets. But I cannot base my analysis on what they did with BYU, because BYU was just not checked into that game. TCU, you guys look great. You guys looked amazing against a high school football team. Okay. You guys looked really good playing a high school football team. I'll give you that. That was, you let one touchdown through, but you guys really played well against a high school football team. So I don't really think that we should base it off of that game, because they walked all over them. It was really, really crazy to witness that. But I have to instill some hope into the K-State fans, because we witnessed last week our secondary really stepped up, and we didn't even have Will Lee. And Will Lee looks like he might be coming back. They're going to be starting to practice him maybe tomorrow. Thursday and Friday. They didn't practice them today.
And Jacob Parrish was pretty good, dude. Jacob Parrish has been looking real good.
Jacob Parrish is looking like the stud that we saw in the very beginning of the season. He was like in a top 10 corner in the country. He's looking really sick. And then we can't get away from our shining hope. Cody's favorite player on K-State right now is
Macho Man
Kobe Savage. I always mess that up for some reason. I don't know why, but Macho Man Kobe Savage, man, coming up huge with these interceptions. VJ Payne coming up with that massive interception that really just kind of was like a chain effect after that. But I think we're really starting to get there. The biggest issue is that I think they said Austin Romaine he's probably not going to be in because of the injuries that he's got
multiple injuries, man. He's got a wrist hurt, he's got a neck hurt, he's got all sorts of things hurt.
Which is crazy because
he's already a backup.
He's already a backup, and he was actually playing through that stuff. He was injured in the game, and he went right back in. He was like making plays and stuff. It was crazy. This guy's a freaking tough kid. I mean, true freshman. Is he a true freshman?
He is.
Wow, that's crazy.
He was playing Coach mentioned for the first time all season, Terry Kirksey, which was a pretty highly rated JUCO linebacker out of Hutch that played in the national championship game for junior colleges last year. Like, he was playing above him. And for the first time this year, Coach mentioned Kirksey as someone who could be playing this weekend. So Kirksey was like 4th or 5th on the depth chart, and he might be playing this weekend because of all the injuries.
We are really scooping at the bottom of the barrel here for our Mike linebackers.
Clifton is going to have to play a lot. Jake Clifton is going to have to play a lot.
I feel like him, Desmond Purnell, and obviously our freaking beast, the Machine, Austin Machine Moore.
Austin Machine Moore is never going to come out this weekend. He's just not coming out.
I think he likes it that way. I think this guy is an absolute animal. I mean, this guy is crazy. He has had so many TFLs this year. He is a freaking beast. I don't think it needs to be Austin the Machine Moore. I think it needs Austin the Beast Moore because this guy is a beast. He just he impresses me every single freaking play. He is just he is 1,000 miles an hour.
Assignment and alignment correct every single play.
Dude, 1,000. He goes 1,000 miles an hour every single play. He constantly leaves it all on the field. I respect that so much out of a player. He's constantly hustling, moving around, hyping up people. I mean, he's legit. He's the real deal.
So
he is the real deal.
Here's what I have to say about the K-State defense versus TCU's offense. K-State needs to keep coming out and doing what they do, doing their best to shut down.
Bend and not break. Bend.
That's another thing. I'm going to get to that here in a minute, but they need to come out and shut down TCU's running game. If they can get away from their running back, who is averaging over 100 yards a game, 751 yards on the season, they can get away from him and rely on their freshman quarterback to pass the ball. He's going to make mistakes. And like you said, bend but don't break. When you look at their red zone offense, 125th in the country, let him come down the field. But then tighten up that defense in the red zone where they can't run any more deep routes. They have to either run the ball or throw it short. I like K-State's chances against a freshman quarterback on the road in a big game. And K-State's defense is only getting better. The Macho Man, Kobe Savage, I feel like he's going to have another big game. I don't know if he's going to have an interception, but he's going to have a couple really, really, really big plays. And I think Jacob Parrish is going to get another interception this week. I like K-State's matchup here, honestly. I'm a little bit worried, but overall, I'm not super scared of their offense, honestly. If K-State can shut down the run, that's the biggest thing. Make them one-dimensional.
I don't think it's going to be an issue with them shutting down the run. But, like you were saying, if you had to have me choose between their freshman quarterback and our senior Kobe Savage, I'm going Kobe Savage every time. This freshman is going to throw to Kobe. You just know it. You know he's going to throw it to him, and you're like, you're an idiot. I'm sorry.
Let him.
Yeah, you are an idiot.
I don't see their freshman quarterback throwing for 400 yards this weekend. And if he
Hell no.
does, shout out to him. But I still like K-State's chances. This is going to be a high scoring game. I like K-State's red zone offense, third down offense, red zone defense. I like it all. And if you look at the turnover margin here, they're -3 on the season. They like to take chances, man. He threw a couple interceptions last week. If K-State can turn them over at least 2 times this weekend and not turn it over at all themselves, K-State's in a great spot to win this game. I like this matchup for K-State, baby.
You know what I just noticed? I didn't even know you had this stat on the sheet. Strength of schedule.
Heck yeah.
Look at the difference of the strength of schedule. Come on, man.
K-State's played some good teams.
I don't even know. I don't even know what to say after that. We are far more superior than TCU is right now at this point.
I wouldn't say we're far more superior, but I'm really glad this is a home game. K-State has the advantage mostly across the board.
Sold out home game.
It's a sold out home game in front of the lights. Both teams are coming off of games. They had their backs against the wall as well. They got it put to them by Iowa State. They came home and just, they threw a knockout punch early against BYU. That game was never close. So both of those teams are coming off of basically get-right games. I like that this is a home game. And I kind of like, honestly, for Will Howard, getting back to the offense here for just a second, I like that Will Howard also has his back against the wall. He's going to come out and play great. We know that Avery Johnson's going to be playing great. I like this matchup. I think K-State's going to do well. And I feel like K-State's defense, again, is going to turn them over at least twice, if not 3 or 4 times this weekend.
Yep. I fully on board with that take, man. Fully on board.
There we go. All righty. We do not have a stats award graphic for this weekend, but we need to get into some score predictions from both of us, some hot takes before we look around the Big 12. Now, Cody cannot be with us again, so I wanted to read his score prediction for this weekend. Cody says KSU beats TCU by 14, and Avery and will tag team those frogs off the top rope. The return of Brooks in the passing game, and we'll get into the hot take in just a minute here. But he has K-State winning by 14. Kenny, what is your score prediction for this weekend?
So when you say tag team, are you talking about like the WWE, like yes. Dudley Brothers doing the 3D,
ropes, baby.
Yes, the 3D, like the guy lifts him up and he's like doing the 3D. That's what we're going to do. The TCU Frogs, Avery and Will doing the 3D.
Let's go.
Yeah. Let's go. Oh man, I would love to see that. Will being the guy that lifts him up and then freaking Avery just off the top rope slammed him down through a dang, what was it, table? Yeah, they were the Table Brothers. That's right. Always the table. All right, my score prediction. I actually didn't really give it much thought, but I think I'm going to go with K-State 44, TCU 21.
44-21. You got K-State by 3 scores?
Yeah, I got K-State by scores? 3 plus scores.
K-State's only favored by 6.5 points going into this weekend.
I know.
And,
we're going to smoke them, dude.
I love it.
It turns out frog legs taste just like chicken. Do you know that? Frog legs taste just like chicken. We're going to smoke them and we're going to just eat them.
I'm not sure I'm quite there with a 3 touchdown plus win. Now, K-State did that to Texas Tech last week on the road. And I think Texas Tech is a pretty good team. So we'll see. My official prediction for this weekend is, again, K-State's favored by 6.5. I think that's a good line. K-State's got the advantage across the board like we talked about. I like K-State to get back to scoring above 40 points. I got K-State winning 45-35. You would definitely want to bet the over on this game. It's going to be a high-scoring game. K-State wins 45-35. Let's get into our hot takes for this weekend coming up. Again, we'll get into Cody's hot take first here. Here's what he says. Hot take. The Senator, Ben Sinnott, has a rushing touchdown in a short goal line situation, which is not really that big of a deal considering he is a fullback on a depth chart, but he's really a tight end. He also says Uso is going to get 3 sacks. That feels like it's more of the hot take of the two.
I would take that hot take over the Senate.
That's a pretty big hot take. Mr. Ken Giddens, Ken Johnson, Ken Savvy, Ken G. What is your hot take for this weekend's game?
I like the Uso take. I really do. I like the Uso take, but it's tough, man, because he's the nose. You know, he's got to take the brunt of all those freaking guys. So I'm going to go and stick with the defense, but I'm going to say that Austin Moore forces 2 fumbles. It's going to be turnover city when it comes to this K-State game this Saturday. We're going to have 2 fumbles. One is going to be recovered by the Frogs. Another one's going to be recovered by K-State. And we're also going to get 2. It's going to be 2s in honor of Deuce Vaughn, who was the one who was player of the game in the last time they met. In honor of him, it's going to be 2 interceptions and 2 fumbles.
I love it. We're doing multiple hot takes here between Cody and Ken. I guess I need to step up my game. I only had 1 hot take, but you know what? We're going to do multiple hot takes. Deuce hot takes.
We got to get Deuce hot takes. It is his honor of Deuce Vaughn winning. I mean, he didn't really win. It was the whole team.
But he won the MVP there. All right, so here's my hot takes. All right, I'm going to start on offense, work my way to defense, special teams, all of that. All right, so my hot take, and I've talked about it this whole podcast, is that Will Howard is going to play his butt off. Avery Johnson is too good to keep off the field. Both of them will have 3 touchdowns each, whether it's running or passing. Both of them will have 3 touchdowns each in this ball game. Now, we're going to turn our attention to defense. K-State's finally. I'm so tired of other teams getting in. K-State not. They should have had one last week. K-State is getting a defensive score this weekend, whether it's a fumble picked up, ran back for a touchdown, or an interception. K-State is going to score on defense in this game. And you know what? Also, K-State's going to block a kick as well. There's 3 hot takes for you there, Mr. Ken Savvy. Boom!
You just kind of slipped that last one in there. That's what she said. No, dude, that was epic. That was a spicy take. That was spicy. It's like,
I like it spicy.
My tongue.
I like
it needs some milk. It was
fajitas.
too spicy.
Spicy fajitas. That's what I like.
Spicy fajitas.
Let's take a look around the Big 12 here, and then we're going to get out of here. We'll pull up the scores or the scoreboard. Blank scoreboard, of course. We already talked about K-State, TCU. Over under 59. Bet the over on that. You agree with that?
Yeah, that's definitely an over there.
Yeah, obviously, you said it earlier, 44-21, so definitely the over there. All right, Oklahoma hosting UCF. Oklahoma by 19. That feels too low. I would take Oklahoma there, and I would also take the over on 65.
They're both coming off of a bye week, okay? But we know with these bye weeks, there's going to be a team that's going to play absolute dog water versus the other, and I just don't have any faith with UCF. I don't think that they have any clue what they signed themselves up for when they joined the Big 12.
This is big boy football, and Oklahoma is going to put it to them. But you know what? Crazier things have happened.
This is what I was talking about. This is big boy football. And that's my whole point with the whole Will Howard thing. I'm sorry to go back to that, but it's my whole point with the Will Howard. You don't just trip over a Big 12 championship, okay?
No.
Like, you don't just happen to stumble. Oh, I got it. You had to freaking play your ass off. You had to work your ass off, and you got the title because you worked really well and you did an amazing job.
Double check.
Wait.
Love it. All right. Baylor, Cincinnati this weekend. Cincinnati by 3.
What a stinker of a game.
What a stinker of a game. Both teams are 2-4.
Nobody's going to watch that game.
Baylor lost to freaking Texas State earlier this year.
Dude, what is the what program is this on? What program is
ESPN Plus? ESPN Plus. So it's not on national TV. I'm gonna take Cincinnati here to cover 3 points. and I'm going to take the under on 50.5.
Yeah. Yep. I agree with everything you just said.
Sneaky good game here at 2:30, man. Oklahoma State, West Virginia, both teams are 4-2. Both teams are 2-1 in the conference. Another one of those games that feels like it's a Big 12 championship game, elimination game here for the loser. West Virginia is favored by 3.5 points, over under 49.5. I definitely say take the over on that. I can't believe it's only 49.5.
Dude, it's going to be way more than that.
I lean West Virginia here, coming off of that pretty bad loss last weekend on a Hail Mary. They're going to be pissed off. Oklahoma State's won a couple games that I feel like they should not have won. I got West Virginia winning here and taking over as well.
Oklahoma State won against KU by it was like 38 points, right?
They won by 7.
Yeah, they won by 7, but it was like 38 to something, right?
They actually had to come back in that game.
They did have to come back in that game.
They were losing. So who do you got here?
I don't know, man. I still think Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma State is.
You got Oklahoma State on the road. Oh my goodness! All right.
Hey, I mean, they seem like they figured out their issue. I don't know. It just seems like they're. I don't know what to say. What do you want me to say, Steve? What do you want me to
say, man? Snooze Fest game coming up. Texas, Houston. Houston fans are going to be excited about this game, especially after last week. Texas is just going to murder. They might go to jail for murdering Houston this weekend. They're favored by 23.5.
They're going to go to jail either way.
Way more than that. Take the over of 61. Texas wins big.
They're going to go to jail either way. Either way. They're going to go to jail if they lose, or they're going to go to jail if they win. Yeah. If they're going to go to jail if they make it, if they're even winning by making it close, they're going to go to jail either way, because this is not a game that Houston should even be remotely close to winning. But I mean, stranger things have happened in the Big 12. What are they ranked 8 now?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. I'll just leave that alone.
And we'll finish up here. Texas Tech playing at BYU. Texas Tech coming off that loss at K-State last week. BYU coming off that thumping at TCU. It's in Provo, Utah. Texas Tech by 4.5, over under 52. I'm going to start here, and I'm going to say Texas Tech wins this game. I'm not sure I'd bet the line on this. I would do the money line here. I don't know who's starting for quarterback for Texas Tech, but they need to be running the ball. Taj Brooks, I can't believe they got away from running the ball, honestly, last weekend. I'm so thankful they did. I got Texas Tech money line here, and I would definitely take the over on this game. Feels like another high-scoring Big 12 game here, man. I don't know. What do you got?
Dad, I don't know. I think what you said is probably more on the accurate side. If they change up what they did against us, because I think they were prone to throwing it because they thought, oh well, K-State's passing defense isn't that great, so we should just throw it. And I think that was their big flaw. But I mean, because they also saw on the other end, they're known for stopping their run, so we have no choice here. But if you're known for running, you should just run the dang ball, man, if that's what you're known for. But I think I'd take the over there.
I think Texas Tech's offensive coordinator got a lot of heat last week with how much they threw the ball with a freshman quarterback, with their really good running back. I don't know what they were doing. I appreciate it. But
I don't really blame them, though, because of the film. You got to look at the film against the team you're going against. And if you see that the team you're going against is an elite rush defense, but a lackluster pass defense, what other game plan do you go with?
Well, so I think their biggest issues are I'm going to talk about 3 plays here, and then we'll get out of here. It was a 4th and 1 or 4th and 2, second half. Their quarterback throws it deep. He misses it. It was actually their first possession of the second half. And thankfully, they held K-State on the other end, but they should have ran the ball with their running back, Taj Brooks. Yeah. K-State came down later, scored a touchdown with, of course, Avery Johnson. Very first play on offense after that, they throw the ball, gets picked off and ran back. K-State scores again on the very next play. I feel like you got to come out running the ball with your really good running back instead of their freshman quarterback. And there was one other one. Oh, when I got into the red zone later, when he threw another interception, you get into the red zone, run the ball for really good running back, man. I don't know what they're doing. Like I said, I appreciate it, but I feel like at some point they're going to have to just lean on that running game way more.
Well, of all these games, Steve, like what is the one that you're most excited to watch other than obviously K-State?
Oklahoma State, West Virginia feels like it's going to be a big game. That's the one I have my eyes on for sure.
Well, the reason why I'm hyping up Oklahoma State a little bit more than West Virginia is because they're the team that beat us, and if you can beat us, then I think that you should be pretty good.
They got lucky to beat us, man.
They did. I'm not gonna stay here and say they deserved it, but I guess judging by this graph here, it looks like KU is on a bye, and who else?
Yeah, KU's on a bye. Let's see who else here.
Who are we missing?
So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Yeah, so there's 3 more teams on a bye.
Yeah, I don't know who they are though.
I don't know who they are. Hey, real quick though, Dayon Savage said on Twitter, and I didn't realize it. Last week started 5 straight games against Texas teams, I believe. 5 straight games against Texas teams, which is kind of crazy to think about, honestly. And then you end with at KU and at home against Iowa State. So last weekend, Texas Tech. This weekend, TCU. Next weekend, Houston, at Texas, and then Baylor at home. I mean, that's crazy when you think about it, dude. That is really, really, really crazy.
So, yeah, Texas got a lot of teams. That's wild. Yeah, I didn't even realize that until that was very well observed. Dayon Savage.
So Iowa State appears to be on a bye this week. That's 2 KU and Iowa State are on byes.
Oh, Iowa State.
And I'm not sure who the other ones are, honestly. I'd have to look. I'd have to dive in a little bit more. But all 4 new teams are playing this week. So I imagine it's probably 2 more Texas teams if I'm thinking.
How many Texas teams do they have?
There's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're all playing this weekend. So I don't know, man. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Oh no, that's right. Yeah, so it's just Iowa State and KU that aren't playing this weekend. So
yeah, I was gonna say it didn't seem like
sorry, I can't count. I'm not a math teacher.
You're not a mathematician, is what you're saying?
Yeah. This has been a fun pod, man.
Yeah.
Fun. Make sure you guys check out all the other episodes because I'm sure I'm going to drop little, blurbs from this episode like we did with the whole, who should start between Avery Johnson and Will Howard. And when looking at it, it was the #1 video ever on our channel, which is great. Make sure you guys like and subscribe if I haven't already said that. I don't believe I have. So please like and subscribe, share it, tell your friends. All of that. We've had a great time. Kenny, thanks so much for joining me, man.
Steve, thank you so much for having me.
And co-hosting. This has been fun, and hopefully K-State gets a win this weekend. Are you going to be there? Have you figured that out?
Oh, man. Okay, so I remember I was telling everybody the last episode I was going to try to figure out if I was going to be there or not. Well, I figured it out, and I'm not going to be able to make it. I tried so hard and I fell short. I was really just like banking on one person. It was based on like whether or not they were going to be traveling to Wichita or not.
Sure.
And if they were going to be traveling to Wichita, I was going to be able to get their ticket. And and they said, no, I'm not traveling. I'm actually going to take this week off. I'm like, gosh, dang it. So that obviously meant he was going to go. So
right.
Nothing personal or anything. I was just like, I just wanted to know so that way I can like make some plans.
Sure.
Because as you get older and you have a family and a daughter and a wife, you can't just do spur of the moment things. You have to like plan days ahead.
Right.
So, although if K-State ever did get to go to the Big 12 championship, that is spur of the moment thing that I would definitely be attending.
Heck yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
I will have to carpool with my man, Steve.
I'll talk about it later, but I don't think I'll be able to go this year like I did last year, and I'll tell you why later. But I will be at the game this weekend. I'm not going to miss this home game. In fact, I'm looking at tickets to make sure I can try to attend 5 out of the last 6 games of the season, and you guys should know what the other game is. I'm probably going to go to. I'm looking at the K-State KU tickets here, and hopefully I can make it to that. I'm trying to go to, like I said, 5 out of the last 6. So should be a fun time. I'm going to be there this weekend. Hopefully the Cats get it done. And that's today's episode. And go Cats, baby.
Go Cats.